to a new episode of Orthodoxy in Appalachia. This channel was created to share the lives of Orthodox Christians living in this region of the United States. This week I had the distinct pleasure of meeting Coria Casey Newman at St. George Orthodox Church in Charleston, West Virginia. Actually, I got to meet Casey and her whole family. Her husband is Father Nicholas Newman, and met their small children, and it was really a delightful experience for me. I connected with Casey right away. She is an art teacher for the St. Raphael Homeschool online program, which you'll learn a little bit more about in this episode. And she's just here to tell you a little bit about her story, so please enjoy.
We've been in Charleston here for 3 years now. Before my husband came to work here full time, and he became the deacon, and then last year he was ordained as he's the assistant priest. So we've been here about 3 years, and we feel like we've kind of been adopted here to West Virginia. We're from New Hampshire, so we started on the north end of the Appalachians, and now we're in Appalachia. I teach in middle school, Sunday school, and we're in the art room for the after school program. So we've got about 15 kids, and every week we do baking with them, and then we do an art lesson, and they get free time in the gym to run off all the energy and craziness.
Casey, how did you first come to the ancient faith? What was your first encounter with Orthodoxy?
It was really funny because I was not looking for Orthodoxy. I was a Baptist teenager, active in the youth group. I went on a summer mission trip, and I was not looking for anything, but there was a guy on the soccer team, and we started dating, and part of that was we were very upfront with each other. And he told me he was Orthodox, so I assumed he was an Orthodox Jew, of course, and never heard of Orthodox Christianity. And we started going to things at each other's churches, and the first thing we went to was a church dance, a Greek parish church dance, and we did a ton of those over the next few years. That was really my introduction to Orthodoxy, was sneaking up and looking at the church during the Greek dances.
How amazing. You're a teenager at this time.
Yeah, we were.
So what was your first impression? Because for so many people, they'll say, that's a culture shock.
Yeah.
What was do you remember your first impression?
I had never seen a church like that because our Baptist church had white walls and wooden plank roofs and had like geometric stained glass windows, but it was whitewashed. That's how I grew up. When I was a teenager, they started putting like Bible quotes in tapestries on the walls, but we did not have church art. I didn't really have a frame of reference for that except for like Renaissance paintings.
Right.
So sneaking in and seeing the church lit by candle in the dark, because we weren't really supposed to be up there, it was mystical and odd and like a very big culture shock. Absolutely. The first service that I went to was a baptism. Same thing. We snuck up in the choir loft. Weren't really supposed to be there, but his dad was the priest, so we were there because his dad was working. So he was explaining what was going on during the baptism because it was all in Greek. And we were sneaking, looking over the edge of the choir loft, and I very distinctly remember him saying, "Okay, and now they're doing the exorcism prayers." And I was like, "What? Exorcism prayers?" Because I had no frame of reference. Again, as a Baptist kid, we didn't have exorcisms. That was like a thing that Catholics did in the movies, not a real life thing.
Right.
So very, very abrupt culture shock.
So how did you decide that you wanted to become an Orthodox Christian, and what was your journey like?
It really crept up on me. So we were going to things at each other's churches. Father was a very good sport. He was going to Alpha and youth group at my Baptist church, and I was going to what started as a Bible study at the Greek church, and it became an Intro to Orthodoxy class. So they kind of changed it because I had a lot of questions. Like his father, Father Constantine, was using a lot of terms I had heard and learned the Catholic definitions for as a kid, and so I had a lot of misunderstandings, and he was very driven to clarify those and kind of clarify what the Orthodox Church is and separate that from all the mixed up things in my head about what Catholicism was. So after about 2 years of this Intro to Orthodoxy class, I committed and was chrismated in 2005.
Wonderful. So the area you grew up in New Hampshire, was it a very Catholic-rich community, or were there Catholic, Orthodox, and Protestants there in equal parts where you grew up?
Well, we had a big Baptist church, and I never knew the Orthodox church was only 2 blocks away. We used to go play ultimate frisbee in their in the front yard next to them, and had no idea. But there was a pretty big Jewish and Greek population. My grandmother knew exactly where the Greek church was, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I know where the Greeks go." And she worked as a young woman. She worked for Greek businesses, and she said they were on one side of the road and the Jews were on the other side of the road. So she knew, but I had never been.
Younger generations were pretty much on that narrow.
It was that mentality: you all stick to your own. We're Baptists, we stay over here, and I just hadn't encountered any.
Casey, you were telling me about the homeschooling program that you use, St. Raphael School. I don't know a lot about it, so please educate me. Tell me a little bit about it. How did you learn about it? What ages does it cover? What's your assessment of it to this point?
Sure. St. Raphael School functions under the umbrella of Schola Academy online. It's all virtual. So it's a homeschool support for families. And St. Raphael's School programs are all specific to our Orthodox life. They have music classes, they have art classes, they've got literature and history, and those are all, the curriculum is tailored to Orthodox families. And so specifically for me, I teach the art classes for elementary school. We look at masterpieces alongside icons. It's called Fundamentals of Art with a focus on iconography for grades. I have kindergartners through 5th grade. And then I teach a separate section that is advanced art, and that is all iconography. So the Fundamentals of Art class looks at different kinds of art through the era. We kind of work backwards from modern art. So at the beginning of the school year, we're just playing with lines and colors, and we do a little bit of abstract art. And then we move backwards through time, closer and closer to Christ and iconography. So as they're developing their skills, they're seeing more complex art all the way. Right now we're doing realism, and so we do some still life, we do some landscapes, we do people. Sometimes it's, we all paint or draw the same maybe still life that I have set up in my studio. Some days they bring their own still life, maybe a toy or an interesting shaped object, and they draw that, and then maybe the class guesses what they drew. We meet live on Zoom, so I have a prepared lesson, and the kids come with their supplies for the week. They get an email that says bring paints or colored pencils or whatever we're going to be doing, and it's all interactive. So class starts with a little brainstorm, usually a 5-minute draw me your best mug of hot chocolate, whatever, some little thing to get the juices flowing. Or this week it was while people are loading in, think of what texture is. How would you describe texture to a little kid? And then, so they have about 5 minutes for a warm up, and then we jump into the lesson. We start with a prayer, and then we do our lesson, whatever that is, talking about texture, and then making texture drawings.
And they
for example, this week.
Yeah, and they have a way to ask you a question.
Absolutely. They have little emoji hands that will pop up on the screen, or they can raise their real hand and wait until I see it.
Yeah.
But they know how to turn their mics on, so they can just answer questions or ask questions.
Casey, I'm aware a little bit about your Sparks blog that you started doing the coloring sheets, but I don't know a lot more, so please tell us about it and how to access it.
Oh, sure. It's called Sparks for Orthodox Kids, and I'm on Facebook and Instagram, but I have a website where you can download for free coloring pages that are sort of like icon templates. They're sketches of saints, and alongside that there's the story of the saint, kind of watered down into kid talk. I just rewrote or paraphrased the story as I would use it for my own kids. So that started when my oldest was 2. We started looking for coloring books, and there was nothing at that time. There's so much more now. It's been almost 10 years, but I decided to start posting them for free because I was just making them for home.
You're sketching those yourself?
Yeah.
Freehand sketching. Have you put your collection into a book?
I have a couple of coloring books out on Amazon. One is Coloring Way Through Pascha or something like that, and the other one is for Nativity. So then the coloring books have pictures that are not online for free, but it's the same style.
Okay. So Casey, you were telling me that you also have an active role in leading the after-school enrichment program here at St. George. So tell us a little bit about that.
Sure, we meet on Wednesday afternoons. We start at 3, so kids can come after school, or a lot of our kids are like kindergarten age, so they are home by then anyways. So we start with prayers, and then we go and we bake something. We've done all kinds of things. They know how to make prosciutto. They're like bread experts at this point. We made brownies this week. We've done meringues. We've done cookies. We've done baklava. We've done all kinds of things to kind of get, just so they're not afraid of baking.
How wonderful. What age group are you?
We have a lot of kindergartners.
Okay.
We've got a few lower elementary school, and then my boys are upper elementary. So we've got about 15 kids that come pretty regularly.
I think that's amazing and wonderful that the church opens up the kitchen for these young people.
We were carrying our home mixer back and forth every week. So someone donated at Christmas time during Black Friday sales. Someone donated a nice stand mixer for the church. So we start by baking, and then they go to the gym and they burn off all the energy, and then we come up here and we have an art lesson. And just for kind of convenience, it's based on my St. Raphael art classes, but it's tweaked for the younger crowd because we do have a couple of toddlers and we've got a couple of older kids. So it's the same sorts of lessons. We've drawn faces of saints, we've done landscapes, we've done cloth like collages. Sometimes they just have free reign over supplies and just to use their creativity and make something beautiful.
And what are the hours?
We start at 3 o'clock with prayers, and then we go into our Orthodox life, the potluck on Wednesday evenings that starts at 5:30.
Okay, and this is just on Wednesdays?
Yep, Wednesdays. We're taking a break for Lent right now, and we're going to come back after Pascha with fresh activities and more baking recipes.
Thank you so much for being a part of this community. I really enjoy the feedback that I'm receiving from this channel. It lifts my heart to know that sharing these stories is edifying you. I hope you will continue to leave your comments or suggestions for new episodes in the future. I hope you'll continue to share these videos with a wider audience.